The governor and I believe hardworking Wisconsinites deserve to have a peace of mind and feel secure when they retire.
Welcome back. Wisconsin's population is getting older, and state leaders are concerned that too many people are unprepared for retirement. Governor Evers called it a growing crisis of retirement security. He signed an executive order last week creating a task force to look at that issue. State Treasurer Sarah Godlewski will lead the task force, and she's joining us now on Upfront. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Adrienne.
What can the state really do for Wisconsinites when it comes to retirement?
So when the typical working household has less than $3,000 saved in retirement, the governor and I believe that we need to do something to make sure Wisconsinites feel secure when they retire. And so what we are looking at with the task force is really three things. The first is we want to make sure we understand the barriers that are facing both individuals, businesses, and just entities across the state, because why aren't people saving for retirement? And I think one of the challenges is that politicians like to go in these rooms and say, this is what we're going to do, and not do enough listening. I mean, my mom always joked with me, Adrienne, that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So you need to do more listening and less talking. So that's like the first objective, is to make sure we're listening to understand. The second objective is to make sure we evaluate best practices. I mean, there are over a dozen other states that have been leading on this retirement issue. Wisconsin has been falling behind. An example is Oregon. So Oregon established a public Roth IRA program. Within the first 2 years, they had over 100,000 people join. They created a fund of $20 million, and they shrunk the retirement gap by 10%. I mean, before we say that's what we want to do for Wisconsinites, we want to make sure we evaluate and look at these. And then the third piece is just making sure that we have pragmatic solutions, so things that really work here.
Well, and I think one question people might have sitting at home is, why is retirement the state's responsibility for non-government workers?
So when over half the population doesn't have a way to save, I think that's when we need to step up and start thinking about why is that. And so one of the things that we've been doing is these listening sessions. I recently was talking to small business owners, and one of the things that a small business owner just right here in Milwaukee was telling me is he was calling financial institutions to provide retirement opportunities for his 10 employees, and no one would return his calls. And so if they're not able to save through work, where are they supposed to save? And so I think that's something that we need to look at as the state, is figure out, is this something that we can do, and what is this going to look like?
Well, and younger generations don't have pensions anymore. And I know that a lot of financial advisors will say, don't count on Social Security to be there. What do you think about Social Security? What's the future there?
So Social Security is going to be there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The question, though, and what I think we really need to understand is at what cost, because people are getting $800, $1,000 a month. That's not going to cover their cost of living. And so you need an alternative means of savings. I think about my story, Adrienne. I turned 30 and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any retirement savings? And so I started looking and seeing, I'm like, you know what? The good news is that I'm kind of a lucky person, because my work had actually saved for me, even though I had actually not put any money away prior. But I know that that's not what a lot of Wisconsinites have. It's not that Wisconsinites don't want to save. It's that the economic conditions here in Wisconsin make it either inaccessible or impossible for them to save.
And I know that you are really passionate. You wanted to save the office of the treasurer, and voters, in fact, ended up agreeing. They wanted to keep that office. How do you rationalize the office to people who are still skeptical about it?
So as the chief financial officer, I mean, we've already rolled up our sleeves and done a lot for the office. One of our roles is we are the chair of a $1.2 billion trust fund that provides funding for library books and technology for all public schools in Wisconsin. And so one of the things that we've been working a lot on is the market's going to change soon. And we want to make sure those investments are well protected. So we've diversified that portfolio. So when the market changes in the next couple of years, we're going to ensure that public funding for those schools are still existing. We've also started looking at the unclaimed property program. This is property that belonged to taxpayers. And we know since this office hasn't been funded to do that, we've been losing on almost $10 million a year for money that should be going back to taxpayers. So we're working on making sure that taxpayers get their property back that they deserve. And these are just the tip of the iceberg. I've been traveling the state. A lot of our work has been educating what their chief financial officer should be doing. And so these are things that, financial security, checks and balances are things that we've been doing while we're in office.
I know you kind of ran on being this fiscal watchdog for the taxpayers. So what would you say is your number one goal that goes with that?
So I think my number one goal goes back to, one, the investments, And two, what does this look like with regards to taxpayers and making sure that we have transparency and accountability? Something that I ran on that was really important is a lot of states do like a taxpayer annual report, Adrienne, where they have clarity on what is our tax dollars going for, what do we get for that? Wisconsinites don't have anything like that. I mean, I used to sit on corporate boards and nonprofit boards, and we would have clear transparency into what our money was going to and why. And Wisconsinites don't have that. And so that's something that we are working on, is helping to provide that clarity and transparency.
All right, State Treasurer Sarah Godlewski, thank you.
Thanks, Adrienne, for having me.
Next on Up Front, no soft landing for the new F-35 fighter jets in Madison.